Hi folks, I'm Stephen Croney. Thanks for joining me again for another watercolour demonstration. So you can see down here a photograph that I took a couple of weeks ago up on Barbeacon. Luckily the sun was out, so I managed to get some nice foreground shadows cut across, and I've tried to replicate this. No, sorry, that's the wrong word. I've just created an impression of this scene. Just kept it as simple as I could. So hopefully you'll be able to follow me as best as I could do the tutorial. So let me show you the photograph closer up. So the first thing I had to do was just work a way out of just simplifying this sort of massive foliage and trunks and branches and whatnot. But as I say, we have got this nice foreground shadow and another little one in the middle ground. So in terms of colours, I've used ultramarine, lemon yellow, Payne's grey, alizarin crimson, raw sienna, burnt umber and light red. Large on Ransonite as always. For this one, for a change, I did all the trees and branches using this sword liner brush, which come in very useful. Still got the number 3 of the size 0 rigger there as well though. If I may, I'd just like to show you my latest book, Painting Loose Landscapes in Watercolour. We've got a whole mass of tutorials going on in here. Broken it down, just took photographs at various stages of the painting just to help you through each painting as best as I could. Try to keep it as simple as I possibly can. So that's I always say Amazon, but it's on quite a few on retailers. I think in the UK, I think Amazon's the best place to get it from because it's $14.99 with free postage. The US is a bit of a pain. Barnes and Noble seems to be the best place to get it from. It's about $21, but I think that has free postage as well. So. Horses for course, depends what country you're in will determine where the best place is. Right then, so let's get started with a bit of background colour, just a bit of raw sienna, just so I can see popping through the trees and a bit in the foreground. I'll stick a bit of crimson in there as well, and then come into this blue down the bottom and push some of this blue in. Blue over there, just caught a touch of yellow there, but don't worry about it. Just take a bit of that, so I've got a bit of light showing through on that side, and then I'm going to just suggest there's just masses of foliage and stuff, so I'm just going to whack a bit of that in first and then just sort of fine tune it later. So we got this there, that there, just whacking in the greens, bit of undergrowth down there. Right, I'm going to switch. I'm going to try this one today. It's a sword. It just says Small Pro Art 9A sword. So I'm just going to see how I get on with this brush, because I could use the rigger, but there's just whole masses of things going on in this one, and I just wanted something that just held a bit more water, just so see how I get on with it. I'm just going a bit of brown, bit of blue, bit of yellow. Then I'm just going to pop these in. I'm worrying about bits of things, paint walking, dripping down the paper. It just holds more paint on, so I've got to keep reloading it. So you just end up with loads and loads of trees and things without having to constantly reload the brush. And then I'm going to do a few little sideways things. And then all this will soften off, and then I'll put the stronger ones on in front. So you can see we've just got a whole mass of trees in the background here. Let's reload this brush, brown and blue, quite a dark mix, and these ones are going to be a little bit stronger. Just very light touch just through the twigs and branches. A little bit stronger to do the broader stroke. Let's do something over here. See how quickly you can just whack in a whole load of trees, just masses of them. So as the paper's drying, the paint's just going on a little bit stronger each time. Right then. So the paper's stretched a little bit, so I'm just going to pull it taut, nice and tight against the board. 9mm piece of plywood I'll lean against the easel. With a clip in each corner. Right then. What am I going to do next? I'm just going to whack on a bit of that there. Let's clean it so it's a bit brighter. Let's go into some of this lemon yellow. We've got some nice bright lemon yellow down there in the foreground. Take a bit of red and blue. I'm just going to pop that. I'm just going to pop the path in now while I'm thinking about it. Simple little path, just a bit of red and blue. Clean the brush again. I just want to get back to that green. In fact, let's get a bit of raw sienna as well, just to vary it slightly. Push it up to the path, either side. Maybe inside the path as well. Just going to blend it right in. Right, so that's the sort of backdrop to everything. So first, I'm just looking now. I think actually I might go back in there with the sword. Bit of blue and brown, dark mix. So there was, got like a tree there. That's coming out of the ground, something like that. A few little things going on behind it. I'm going to pop a few things over there as well. No, I'm not worrying too much. I'm not copying the photograph slavishly. I'm just using it as a reference. But I'm being very, very light. I'm barely trying to touch the paper now. There's a few things going up there. Now we've got some bigger trees. I'm pressing down quite a lot now, just to get that broader stroke. A bit more brown in that, with a little bit blue. A few more branches and things coming off this one. Big one here as well. Well, let's get back to the paintbrush. I'm going to brush in. Bit of lemon yellow. And we got some yellow and things going on. It's not as yellow as this in the photograph, but as I say, I'm not using. I'm just using it as a rough guide, the photo. It has a little bit of blue to it just to darken it slightly. A little bit of red as well. Right, let's clean the brush and let's just pull it tight, paper stretched. Just a little bit. Now I want to go back to a lighter colour again, so I need to clean the brush. And back into that. Lemon yellow, put the alizarin. Just over to the edge of the path. That's a few things. Right, I've got this big, I'm going to put the big foreground one now in on the left hand side. Now this is a really big one, so I'm pressing down to the max now. Lots of paints, brown, blue, and then I'm going up something like that. And we've got loads of branches and things coming off. One slightly stronger, that's just cutting right across there. Press down a little bit harder because the branch is a little bit thicker than how we've been doing them. Let's pop a bit of, make these ones a little bit darker. So I'm going to clean the brush. I want to get this a little bit drier, the brush, while I'm doing it. Just clean it, squeeze the water out on the tea towel, scuff the hairs up. little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, a little bit of brown on there as well. And stick a little bit of Payne's grey as well in there. That's coming right down to the base. So might be ready for a few shadows, I think. Right. I'll just pop some shadows in there. So before I put the shadows in, I just want to make sure it's dry. So I'm just going to use the hairdryer. And then generally I have a shadow mix, nice simple mixes, sort of a bit of brown, bit of red, bit of blue. Mix all those together, so I'm just looking for sort of bluey grey type colour. Something like that. Now I'm just looking where the shadows are, so that's sort of just like that. We'll just cut some across right on the foreground, and then there's a few more just a little bit further up. Had a quick dry. And then just in the distance, I'm just going to take a little size 0 rigger and I'm just going to put just trying to get the scale right, just a couple of figures just walking off into the distance. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that. So I'm just going to sign this one now. Just sign it down there. I'm going to call that one finished. So let's stick a mount on it and compare it to the photograph, see what it looks like. So there's our finished painting, the mounts. There you can see the photograph I was working from. So I haven't really changed a fat lot. I'm quite happy how this one turned out actually. I wasn't quite sure whether to use this photo. I didn't know what. I think what really helps, I think what put me off doing this originally was just the amount of trees in the background. But I think what's really helped me is that sword liner brush really lets you do it without any faffing around at all. You could just you don't have to keep reloading the brush like the rigger. I mean, I don't know how much longer I'll use it for. Maybe I don't know. I'll just have to see how it goes, but it definitely seems to make life a bit easier. I've just tried to simplify all that background as best I could. Unfortunately, there's the foreground shadow. I mean, get these shadows in. I mean, it really does help when you got them in your reference photograph without having to make them up. It just helps bring the thing to life with the light and shadow. So background, just a bit of raw sienna, ultramarine, a bit of alizarin in the background. And you can see where I've started using the sword brush just to pop in all those distant trees. And you can see how they get sort of a bit stronger in tone as they get nearer to us, and helps create that sense of depth. Which these two ones on the foreground, right hand foreground, those ones popped in strongest of all of those ones. And then the big one here on the left. Could maybe use just a bit of neat yellow just to pop a few more. Ones I don't know, it's not in the reference, it's all pretty dark in the reference, I don't know. Maybe it's best left alone like that. And then got the sort of middle ground bushes, a few darks and lights mixed in amongst them. And then using a bit of ultramarine and light red, just pop this simple little path in, and you can see it just goes off to the little figures there in the distance walking off into the woods. So that's my simple impression of that little photograph I took a couple of weeks ago. So as always, thanks for watching. Do join me over at patreon.com if you get the opportunity. There's about another 250 videos on there that aren't on YouTube. You can also post your own paintings on the community page. All the books are on Amazon if you want to take a look at those. So if you've got any questions, please ask, and I'll see you again soon.